My name is Dr. Michael Bafo. I'm an associate professor here at the Faculty of Social Work, University of Manitoba, and I have been involved in organizing the conference called Strangers in New Homelands since November of 2008. So this year is the seventh time that we're having the conference. The theme for this year's conference is building inclusive communities of host societies and newcomers. Now, immigration involves newcomers getting into new societies and being assisted to integrate into the society in which they come. There are a lot of schools around the city where new immigrants, refugees, or newcomers generally attend, newcomer youth. And Hugh McDonald is one of such schools. And they have a lot of interesting programs that are aimed at assisting the youth in those areas to integrate into the schools. So that's why we partner with them in line with the theme for this year's conference, for them to showcase what they have been doing in their school to welcome the youth, newcomer youth who come into their schools and into their communities.
We did the mural as a whole school to basically just incorporate all the different cultures into our school and to make it look really nice.
I participated in most of the murals, like all of them. We did a bunch inside that I did too. This one I did majority of, there was a couple students that helped me with it, and also Annie and Ursula. We taught them a bit about what we were putting up. So some of them taught us about their culture, and I taught them about the 7 teachings. And they actually didn't really know about it, so it was very tricky to teach them about it. It actually meant a lot to me because they're putting up something that's part of my culture. When I look up to the mural, that's something that's part of me and something that I did too.
My name is Raymond Jimas Bengarbui, and we are at Hugh John McDonald School, exactly at the Peaceful Village Garden. Peaceful Village Garden is a small school community garden, which started in 2009. Hugh John McDonald School is not only an intercultural school, but it's also a hub of community development within this neighborhood. And so having this community garden is a way of getting both students, parents, and community members together for cooking, for healthy living, growing vegetables, and everything that goes toward betterment.
So my name is Warren Deploy, and I work at Hugh John McDonald School. I'm a teacher, and we're in the school's bike shop. We're in a partnership with Oscar Latham Collegiate in Opaskwayak Cree Nation, which is a reserve that's right outside the Pas, Manitoba. And most of the students there are Aboriginal, of course. We have a partnership with them where their students come and visit us, and our students from this area go and visit them. And we've had several of those trips already. And the students from our school here, we have a lot of Aboriginal students living here in our community here in Winnipeg. And we also have a lot of newcomers and newly settled Canadians, and those people might not have a lot of opportunity to go outside the city and to experience land-based learning. And so this has been a good opportunity for them to see that there's students outside the city that are in many ways very similar to them. And it's a way to build bridges between communities, and that's one of the focuses of our school, is to have students see that they are very similar even though they come from a different place.
My name is Steve Kirby. I'm the director of the Jazz Studies program at the University of Manitoba. I'm a professor there. And I initiated the Bridge program at Hugh John McDonald.
And I'm Charlene Deal, and I run the Writers' Festival here in Winnipeg, and I'm very involved in a lot of the jazz activities, including working with Steve on Dig Magazine and being here in that first season of the Bridge program.
I chose the name Bridge program because we wanted to bridge cultures and demographics. Like, for example, You know, I'm from the inner city, but most of my students are from wealthy or well-to-do families. And those kids don't know what the inner city kids like. And so they tend to describe them in glib remark, like those are really tough kids and they're always this and that and the other. Well, they have no evidence of any of the things that they're talking about. And so I like to bridge that gap. And what happens is when these kids meet each other on the bandstand, they realize, except for a few bucks in the bank, these are the same kids. There's almost no difference. So what we're doing with the jazz technique is teaching all the kids to be sensitive to other kids that are not like them, and teaching them to be tolerant of how they express themselves, and teaching them how to incorporate those other disparate expressions into the way that they speak, which causes them to take that culture back home into their own culture, and then it spreads. And so there's not so much separation.
One of the things about jazz practice also is that it really depends heavily on the popular music of the time. So that's one of the things that
it actually creates the popular music of its
Right.
time. Yeah.
But
So,
a lot of
yeah.
the stuff we did in the very first, from the very start, was invite these kids to play songs that they knew. So they're on instruments that they don't know, but they're playing music that they do know, and they're able to collaborate with one another even when they couldn't necessarily speak to one another, because there were always many languages in the music room. Every year that we've been involved, there's been a lot of languages in there, and a lot of kids are not fluent yet in a shared language, except for they found that they were really fluent in a shared language of music.
Yeah.
And they learn things very quickly because much of the jazz practice depends on a good ear, and these kids
Listening.
are invited to listen.
The
and
key is listening to someone else besides yourself.
Right. And they'd have a lot of fun together, and then that really is one of the most profound ways to break down anxieties and barriers between people when there's a way to play together.
I'm Emilia Tufor, and my background is West Africa, Ghana. Yeah, I'm a caretaker at night and at Hugh John here, and I love my job because of the staff and the kids that we work with here. And the principal here too, he's a really awesome guy working with, and the student, and they have a lot of programs here too.
My name is Vin Hugh, and I'm a principal here at Hugh John Macdonald School. I think the key thing to understand, and we've actually, over the last number of years, 35 years for me, and then 21 years as an educator, and 11 years as a school leader, is to really work on defining and living out that idea of what it means to be Canadians. It's a huge area that is constantly evolving, and for me, I see as multiculturalism as a beginning step that was taken many years ago by our nation to recognize the diversity of people group. But what I'm interested in is what's next and what's the future for us as Canadians and for the Manitobans in Winnipeg and the students and staff here at Hugh John. And so if you notice outside, if you ever come by Hugh John, there is a long play, which is a picture that looks inside the school. And on it, we put the identity of the school, which is we're an intercultural community school. So not only we're a school that is in the community, we are part of the community that is very diverse. And that's why we adopted the theme intercultural, in the sense that it's not enough just to be diverse. What do you do with that diversity? And a big part of our work, whether it's through the bridge music or the garden or the land-based learning through the bike shops or the garden, all these things serve as a way for you to recognize your potential as a human being, realize it, and then also link into your sense of being, of who you are, your sense of identity. And then you're invited to come and be part of the table. And then that way you can then enter into sustained conversation, what it means to be human, to be Winnipeggers, to be Canadians. And in the process, you are mutually transformed by that process of engagement and dialogue and conversations. And so for us here, we're constantly evolving. But the idea is for us to be able to grow and to become, realize our potential, we have to have a sense of who we are within the context of the community.